In 1975, the realistic but modest goal of the Dallas Cowboys was a 10th straight winning season. The team numbered 12 rookies on their 43-man roster. Gone were Lilly, Garrison, Green, Hayes, Nyland, Hill, and Manders, men who had led Dallas to the playoffs in 8 of the last 9 seasons. Even with a lineup depleted in proven talent and experience, the Cowboys held a whole card in poker-faced Tom Landry. A player once said, "You never win or lose to the Cowboys. You win or lose to Tom Landry." But Landry believes victory depends on good people, a commodity the Cowboys had in abundance.
I think the thing that makes you successful is the people that make up your football team. I don't care whether you draft them or you trade them or what you do. This year we have a young football team in many respects. We have a lot of young rookies who have a lot of enthusiasm. They hit hard and they express enthusiasm. It becomes contagious, and our veterans will pick it up. And this is a reason that we're a little different this year than we've been in the past.
The young Cowboys desperately needed a few early season victories to gain their sea legs for the championship chase. Game 1 pitted them against the Rams, a team that was like an old dog trying to keep up with a pack of pups. And if you're chasing cars or championships, it's a good way to get run over. The crackling doomsday defense allowed Los Angeles to cross midfield just once as Dallas won an easy 18-7 victory and prompted 34-year-old Leroy Jordan to say, "I felt like the headmaster at a Boy Scout jamboree." To combat inexperience, Tom Landry devised the unexpected for the unsuspecting St. Louis Cardinals in the second week. A 97-yard touchdown by rookie linebacker Thomas Henderson spurred Dallas to a 37-31 triumph. Two solid wins over championship contenders mushroomed into 3 in a row against the Detroit Lions. The quick strike offense came through with flying colors and rolled up 36 points. The big hit doomsday defense ran relays into the Detroit backfield and sacked Lion quarterbacks an incredible 11 times. The blending of a hardy nucleus of veterans with a liberal sprinkling of youth produced 3 straight impressive victories and a climate of contagious enthusiasm that was best expressed by safety Charlie Waters.
That emotional factor that the rookies bring into the game, the unpredictable thing that they have, I knew that if we had that going for us, the determination, the intensity, that we can beat anybody. The youth, the mix of the youth and the age on our team it's just been super. Our organization, they're smart. They know what they're doing.
Smart organization was borne out by the special teams. The end result of Mitch Hupp's towering punts was a hard lick by Benny Barnes, Bob Bruni, Pat Donovan, Kyle Davis, and Calvin Peterson. For some, the unit was a stepping stone before graduate work with the front-line defense. The Cowboys used situation substitutions, a strategy that shuttled in fresh legs and took advantage of #1 draft choice Randy White's ability to rush the passer. Disguised at linebacker, tackle, or end in the complex scheme of the doomsday defense, White became a bruising component in the NFC's third-ranked defense. Early in 1975, their flex defense was like the little girl with the curl. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. The flex was geared for a hitter like Cliff Harris, who deftly slipped from deep safety to the point of attack to close down sweeps. On the line, number 75, Jethro Pugh assumed the leadership burden from Bob Lilly. And with the help of 6'9" Ed Too Tall Jones, a runner couldn't see the forest for the trees. As a pass rusher, Too Tall and his punishing partner Harvey Martin helped Dallas dust off quarterbacks 41 times. The swarming charge of tackles Larry Cole, Jethro Pugh, and Bill Gregory added up to big hits and fumbles, a category that ranked the Cowboys second best in the NFL. Rookie Randy Hughes, number 42, had a nose for the ball. Used to winning at Oklahoma, the rangy safety fit into the secondary like a final piece in a puzzle. By the end of 1975, Doomsday gained an all-pro in Cliff Harris and lost its Jekyll and Hyde style. One thing it retained was enthusiasm, a trait dear to the heart of Leroy Jordan.
I think the veterans have their own enthusiasm. I think that's one of my assets as far as, you know, I really like to cheerlead. I like to cheer these guys on because I like to see people do things well.
The zest for the game spilled over from veterans D.D. Lewis, Mel Renfro, Mark Washington, and Dave Edwards to the rookies and to place kicker Tony Frisch. There was a common bond, a common cause, a third Super Bowl appearance for the Dallas Cowboys. What Dallas gained in spirit was thought to be offset by a void at running back. But even here, there was a musketeer feeling of all for one and one for all. Gone was Calvin Hill's 1,000 yards, but Robert Newhouse added 930 yards of his own. Newhouse's partner was acquired for not even the waiver price just 2 days before the first game. But in Preston Pearson, the Cowboys found the key that unlocked the season. Charles Young and Doug Dennison added depth and muscle to the backfield. And by year's end, a supposed weakness became a strength, and Dallas led the NFC in rushing. Quarterback Roger Staubach was the hub around which everything and everybody revolved. Roger's reckless style made him a high-risk quarterback, someone who sacrificed his body for 6 points. Realizing that a severe injury to Staubach would rob their chances for the playoffs, the imaginative Landry reincarnated a formation that made Roger less vulnerable to the pass rush. Used part of a season by the 49ers over a decade ago, the shotgun became a staple in the Cowboy attack. The formation gave Staubach an excellent sight line into the secondary and afforded him a precious extra second to size up the defense and seize the opportunity to pass or run. Landry embellished the shotgun with many artistic frills, but it was primarily a passing formation made for Roger Staubach.
The biggest advantage of the shotgun is getting back deep in a shorter period of time and the ability to see defenses for a longer period of time. You put more burden on the rush. You're back deeper, and the other thing is for a quarterback, as far as myself, more mobility. I can move around more because I'm back there quicker.
Under the gun, Staubach's pinpoint passing enabled him to complete 57% of his passes. And in his greatest season, the Dallas Cowboys gained the most yards in the NFC. The spread formation quickly breached the heart of a secondary for tight ends Billy Joe Dupree and number 84, Gene Fugit. Fuget's versatility made him a valuable swing man who also played wide receiver, a position with little depth but big explosion. Number 83, Golden Richards, was the fastest Cowboy, a quarter horse whose speed opened up the field and drew double coverage away from the patterned precision of Drew Pearson, the team's leading receiver. In the championship season, Pearson gained more than 800 yards and caught 8 touchdown passes. Number 88 was a former quarterback and thus understands the subtleties of a passing attack, the importance of down and distance, and the timing between quarterback and receiver. While Pearson probed and poked at defenses like a good counterpuncher, Golden Richards averaged more than 21 yards a catch and had the ability to stretch and snap secondaries at their limits. Richards mastered the shorter patterns, routes that required concentration, agility, and the coordination between hand and eye. Tom Landry's playbook has traditionally been as thick as the Encyclopedia Britannica. In the expansion years, these varied formations and shifts were Christmas ornaments employed to camouflage weakness. But for the last 10 years, they have made the Cowboys winners and the hardest team to prepare for in pro football. For years, the Cowboys were exciting but unloved. Now that they were underdogs instead of odds-on favorites, their mind-boggling style captured everyone's fancy. Each week, they pulled out games and plays like magicians grabbing rabbits out of a hat. Their games were carnivals where anything could happen and usually did. Opposing coaches and critics ridiculed the plays as high school or sandlot, but by week 13, they helped the Cowboys move to within one victory of the playoffs. For Tom Landry, a season of little expectation climaxed with visions of a wild card berth. In his path stood some old enemies, the Redskins and George Allen.
Well, the Redskin-Cowboy rivalry is intense because the Cowboys had this division to themselves. They had a cakewalk every year. They won it every year, 8 consecutive years. So we come in and we destroy their power. We knocked them off. And anytime any club comes in and upsets your equilibrium, then there's going to be a rivalry.
A flat start put Dallas in a 10-0 hole until Golden Richards dug them out with a 57-yard catch and carry. The Cowboys gained a 14-10 lead when Staubach, on a well-conceived quarterback draw, traded a brutal shot to his aching ribs for a touchdown. Last season, when Staubach was forced out of the game, the Redskins fell victim to Clint Longley's miracle on Thanksgiving. 1 year later, it was the doomsday defense and Cliff Harris's helmet that drove a stake into their offense. The 31-10 rout of Washington was capped by a final irony. Safety Charlie Waters, so often battered in Redskin victories, scored the climactic touchdown that left George Allen out of the playoff cold for the first time in 5 years. '75 was a year the Dallas Cowboys came full circle. After years of being champions, they were Cinderellas. To reach the Super Bowl, they had to win 2 away games. But history was on their side, for the Cowboys had not lost in the first round of the playoffs since 1969. In Minnesota, Tom Landry's team was on the brink of elimination, even though they had outfought the Vikings for 58 minutes. Trailing 14-10, 80 yards stood between Dallas and victory. Rayfield Wright drove number 81, Carl Eller, from Bloomington to Minneapolis as Staubach desperately sought and found Drew Pearson. Pearson's catch moved the Cowboys to midfield with just 24 seconds remaining. The trusty shotgun seemed no match for the Viking zone, which denied the bomb but could not hold back America. In one magic moment, Drew Pearson transformed defeat into victory. Roger Staubach described it as a Hail Mary play. The controversy over Pearson's touchdown obscured the fact that Dallas clearly dominated Minnesota and deserved to win. Many chalked their victory up to luck. Surely, they said, the miracles would dry up against the imposing Los Angeles Rams, a team that had scored a decisive playoff victory over the Cardinals. 1 week later at the Coliseum, the opinions were unanimous. The Rams were bound to win.
Is there any question? I mean, is there any question on who's going to win? Would I be dressed like this if there was a doubt in my mind as to who was going to win?
We're going to go to the Super Bowl!
Tom Landry's defensive strategy was simple. Stop Larry McCutcheon. McCutcheon, who gained 237 yards against St. Louis, was flat out crushed and held to 10 yards on 11 carries. With McCutcheon eliminated, the overeager front four towed out and stampeded into quarterback Ron Jaworski. The question still remained whether Landry's offense could budge the NFC's #1 defense. The interior line of Fitzgerald, Nye, and Lawless held firm in the middle, while Rayfield Wright drove out Jack Youngblood and Ralph Neely kicked out Fred Dreyer. The day belonged to 30-year-old Preston Pearson, the former basketball player at Illinois, who once blocked a skyhook by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The former Steeler was the only Cowboy ever to play for another NFL team. and the man Roger Staubach called the key to our season. Pearson caught 3 touchdown passes and caused the fall of the Ram Empire in its own Coliseum. A day that began with shouting, ended in silence, as the Cowboys unhinged, then dismantled a defense that had yielded under 10 points a game during the 1975 season. This was a day of absolute victory. The defense held the Rams to 7 points, while the offense rolled up 37 of their own. But more than that, it was a tribute to Tom Landry and the bold strategies called Sandlot or worse. The Dallas Cowboys laid waste to the cynics and skeptics. They were the NFC champions. They were going to the Super Bowl.
Number 1, baby! Number 1! Going to the ball! Oh, yeah! Yes, yes, yes! Yes!
Super Sunday dawned bright and sunny. For the Dallas Cowboys, it was another day of being underdogs. After so much accomplished, they would have been forgiven for falling flat on their helmets. Instead, they played dead even with the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers and made the 10th Super Bowl the most exciting and competitive ever. Dallas displayed their signature offense, a versatile and varied attack. Unlike so many teams before them, they did not dull out this game. Their philosophy was as clear as a kid's letter from camp. Having fun, happy to be here. The defense, which held Chuck Foreman and Lawrence McCutcheon to under 100 yards in the playoffs, limited Franco Harris to 82 on 27 attempts. The Cowboys led for most of the game, but the Pittsburgh Steelers and graceful Lynn Swann were the better team at the end. Later, Swann said, "After my touchdown, we all expected them to give up. They never did." The die-hard Cowboys battled to the final second, when time and the Steelers combined to defeat them 21-17. Painful as it was to lose the biggest game of the season, everyone agreed there were no losers in Super Bowl X. Certainly not the Dallas Cowboys, who reestablished themselves as champions and continued a streak of excellence that has produced 10 straight winning seasons and 9 playoff appearances in 10 years. The best is yet to come, for this is a young team, a team with spirit and character, a team that wins with a smile. The Dallas Cowboys are a marvel of consistency. For 10 of the past 11 years, they've made the playoffs, and 3 times their season ended in the Super Bowl. Each year, a transfusion of new players and new strategies makes their blood boil for yet another championship hunt. And like all hunters, Tom Landry relishes the chase more than the capture.
I don't think I would enjoy my profession if I knew I was always a winner. I think it's really the chase that's important. It's the challenge that you're after, much more than the winning.
For 2 years, the Cowboys' road to an NFC Eastern title had led them through blind alleys of frustration and dead-ended failure. In 1976, the chase was mounted with a wild and woolly harem-scarum offense that stretched the breadth of the field while it girdled the length to 6 points. Dallas could stand toe-to-toe and slug it out, but it was their now you see them, now you don't, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee attack that was their signature. This wonderfully conceived offense spit out 296 points, and as one coach remarked, they come at you in so many ways with so many players that you don't have enough fingers to plug up the dike. If Dallas had as many good players as they have good plays, they would suit up 400 people. And at times they seem to have more players on the field than the rules allow, as their human wave assaults generated a flood tide of easy touchdowns. The Cowboys won 9 of their first 10 games, and it became readily apparent that stopping their drive in the East would be harder than squeezing blood from a stone. The reality was such that Tom Landry's team of marathon men lapped a field of weary foot soldiers slogging on cement legs. Dallas just had more ways to score 6 points than teams had methods to stop them. The Cowboys' wild and woolly style was mind-boggling. So exciting, in fact, that a season ticket bought you a seat you never sat in. The Cowboys captured the East with an 11-3 record, and the future appeared bright indeed. Their first roadblock to Super Bowl 11 was the Rams, a team Dallas had defeated 3 straight times and outscored by more than 2-1. But on December 19th, the hex ended. Los Angeles held on to victory in the final seconds to defeat Dallas 14-12. After so many victories, one loss made a glorious season seem sad and empty. For 43 players, there were no lessons to be learned from this loss, but for one man, defeat has been his greatest teacher.
I think the greatest thing that competitive athletics does for anyone is it teaches him how to meet defeat. not how to meet victory. Because I think that only through defeat is character built. And I think this is the greatest thing that competitive sports do for any youngster or any man. And as I've gone through the game of football through the years, I've been able to cope with the defeats and learn how to overcome them, to endure to the point that you can come back the next time and compete harder.
Two areas where Dallas showed marked improvement were defense and special teams. The defense surrendered just 194 points, and the special teams proved daring and imaginative. Imagination was a friend Herrera, the NFL's most accurate place kicker, punting and nailing down the coffin corner. Against the Cardinals, daring was a fourth down pass from their own 15 by punter Danny White that vaulted the Cowboys out of trouble and into the playoffs. Special team members fly by the seat of their pants. It takes daredevils like return specialist Butch Johnson, number 86, and other young stars such as Saldi, Jensen, Hegman, Rafferty, Edson, Hughes, Reese, and Shawn. Dallas special teams excelled in one area, blocking punts. Men like Thomas Henderson, number 56, and number 1 draft choice Aaron Kyle, number 25, helped Dallas block 7 punts, the most in pro football. It takes special men with a special knack to surrender their bodies and take the ball off a punter's foot. Although 6 points exceeded their grasp, the Cowboys accounted for 3 safeties and a season's worth of thrills and spills. Special teams are a stepping stone where young Cowboys mellow and mature until they finally earn their star on defense. The Doomsday defense is strong and veteran at tackle, where 12-year pro Jethro Pugh and seasoned and steady Larry Cole blend with 6-year Cowboy Bill Gregory. The coach on the field was Leroy Jordan. After 13 years as an all-pro and leader of the defense, Jordan announced his retirement. While the number 55 has been synonymous with excellence, Doomsday enjoyed a mix of budding stars and bona fide all-pros. Linebackers Bob Brunig, Randy White, D.D. Lewis, and Jordan operated behind a flexed front 4. Everyone in the flex had zones of responsibility, and they played it so well that only one running back gained 100 yards against it. The difference between other defenses and Doomsday is the difference between bubble gum and jawbreakers. They sacked quarterbacks 44 times and led them on a rocky road to national embarrassment. In the bewildering scheme of the Dallas defense, the coordination between pass rush and pass coverage means the difference between a sack, an interception, or a touchdown pass. Happily, the Cowboys are blessed with all-pro safeties, Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris, and gifted cornerbacks Benny Barnes, Mark Washington, and Mel Renfro. Like the Mounties, the Cowboys always got their man, but in catching the robber, sometimes they dropped the loot. Mistakes were remedied by running through a receiver's numbers or being at the spot when the ball arrives. Two things Cliff Harris did quite well in 1976. A quarterback has to be Sherlock Holmes to solve the mysteries of a secondary that leaves a trail of false leads, smudged clues, and a baffling maze of coverages. By year's end, the secondary, a supposed weakness, turned into a strength, and the deep defense became trusted allies to the big men up front. In football, it's what's up front that counts. There's no one more valued in sport than the good big man. Someone big enough to blot out the sun or cloud a quarterback's vision. At 6'9", 265 pounds, Ed Too Tall Jones is a computer's printout of the ultimate quarterback's nightmare. With each game, more quarterbacks wear Too Tall Jones as part of their uniforms. But while number 72 still grows into an all-pro, number 79 is already one. Harvey Martin has led Dallas in sacks every year he's been a Cowboy. And this season he tacked on 15 more for a career total of 44. His trademark is the outside rush. The Martin equation reads, speed plus head slap equals 250 pounds of squeeze. Against the New York Giants, Harvey took an inside route to pulverize Craig Morton and preserve a last-second victory. To protect a quarterback from Martin, tackles need shackles and ankle bracelets because a firm hold is no guarantee. Number 79 is a tide that keeps rolling in. Because of players like Martin, this defense was one of the best in Cowboy history. It was big, fast, and strong down the stretch. A horse you could ride all the way to the Super Bowl. One would assume that after 17 years of continuous service, Tom Landry's philosophies would ossify like dinosaur bones. Instead, the dean of NFL head coaches remains the most creative strategist in the game.
It looks like confusion to anybody who doesn't know much about the game because it looks like it's just 11 men attacking each other at one time. But as you learn the game, it becomes very scientific, especially in professional football. It becomes very intriguing and exciting.
Landry's offense is a symphony of many movements, with varied soloists playing in team harmony. His ambitious concepts make the Cowboys not only the most entertaining, but the hardest team to prepare for in the game. Critics claim Landry's offense is overly ornamental. Camouflage in this flurry of feints and jabs is a heavyweight right hand under the heart, delivered by running back Scott Laidlaw, Preston Pearson, Doug Dennison, and Robert Newhouse. On the surface, the Cowboy offense is a gingerbread house chock full of goodies and surprises. Underneath, hard leadership is provided by Landry and quarterback Roger Staubach. the conductor through which all the lightning passed.
I'm aggressive to a degree. As a quarterback, you got to keep your poise. You can't get overly emotional because you've got a lot on your mind. You've got to do a lot of things mentally to control the game. But I get very competitive, and where you can't be particularly a nice guy in the field because the aspect of the game and the type of game it is. You've got to be competitive, aggressive, and give everything you have physically.
Always the bullseye for defenses, Roger modified his daring scrambles and invented the Starbuck slide, a device that stole yards and years for his career. This watered-down approach did not drain his natural instincts. Above all, number 12 is a fierce and feared competitor, and his drive and dive for victory eventually proved a stumbling block to Cowboys' hopes for the Super Bowl. Midway through the season, Starbuck tempted Dame Fortune once too often, and for the Dallas Cowboys, the season took an ominous turn. The diagnosis was a fractured fifth metacarpal on his throwing hand. Swaddled in bandages, Roger played on, but not near as effectively. Through 7 weeks, his 70% completion average and a volley of touchdowns with few interceptions gave him the highest quarterback efficiency rating in history. Starbuck was willing, but not as able. Teams that once swooned before this wild and woolly team now got up and danced on it. Their running game, once so valued, was kidnapped, ransomed, and never returned. The Cowboys tried varied rushing combinations to pep up their attack, but in effect they were hamstrung by injuries to Robert Newhouse. Without his primary back, Starbuck was forced to rely heavily on the trusty shotgun, a passing formation that the Cowboys embellished with some new twists. Surprise runs by a back like Charles Young adds to the shotgun's firepower, but its true worth lies in its ability to shoot 5 potential receivers quickly and cleanly into the passing lanes. The shotgun is indispensable in beating the clock by moving the ball surely and certainly and using the sidelines. It can also spray out long-range touchdowns with a pull of its trigger. Formations and quarterbacks are worthless without a core of receivers with a knack for the end zone. Pro Bowler Billy Joe Dupree caught more passes than any tight end in the NFC, and Swift Golden Richards averaged over 21 yards a catch. The best of the best was Drew Pearson, the NFC's leading receiver and the favorite subject of Roger Starbuck.
Drew Pearson and I, of course, have we've had a very good rapport together. It started in that off-season. We just worked out when he was a free agent, and we've got a lot of confidence in each other. And that's the big thing for a receiver and a quarterback, believing in each other. When you do that, you know, you go to each other in a clutch. And Drew has been our clutch receiver, and I go to him when when we're in trouble and when we're not in trouble. And I just believe he's going to make the play, and he believes I'm going to try and get him the ball some way, and he's going to do everything he can to make the play for me. And it's a rapport, it's a confidence in each other, and it starts in the huddle when we break the huddle, and we go from there.
Number 88 is the dance master. With every step, every cut, he reads and reacts to coverage. Pearson runs stopwatch perfect sideline patterns and is utterly without fear over the middle. One coach aptly described Pearson's smooth, unhurried stride and ability to maneuver by saying, he's like an Indian running through the forest at night. Ram coach Chuck Knox said it simply and better with one word: sweet.
It's just hard to put your hand on exactly why he makes the big plays, but he does. And there's certain athletes that do it, and Drew Pearson's one of them.
Webster's Collegiate Dictionary defines clutch as, number 1, hands in the act of seizing, grasping, or holding. Of Drew Pearson's 58 receptions, few came very easy. Number 2, clutch, a tight or crucial situation. Pearson scored 8 touchdowns, most in desperate situations. 7 of them came receiving, the other by doing what came naturally. Number 3, clutch, a receiver named Drew Pearson. There is a fever at Texas Stadium where every Sunday offers a season's worth of excitement. The Dallas Cowboys are a team of enduring traditions. Dominant defense, explosive offense, and superior coaching. It is a team that does not dream of championships, but expects them. A team of captains and kings, Starbucks and Pearsons, and the men that make it all work. Fitzgerald, Nye, Lawless, Scott, Neely, Wright, and Donovan. They are solid and deep at every position, rich in young talent and unfailingly unpredictable. They are the wild and woolly Dallas Cowboys, the most exciting team in pro football. From the very first day of training camp, Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys set their sights on a goal 28 teams dream about, but only one would realize: victory in Super Bowl 12 and the World Championship.
The coach, if he's to be successful, must think about improving his football team constantly. Everybody can't have a goal to the Super Bowl because it's out of people's reach. Now, once you reach a level that we're at right now, then the Super Bowl does become within reason for us to accomplish it. So therefore, our minds are occupied with the Super Bowl right now.
Of the 113 veterans, rookies, and free agents, only the hardy survived the relentless, leg-burning two-a-day practices. There are no fat Dallas Cowboys. It is a long, lean, and limber team. And one observer was so amazed at their physical appearance, he remarked, "Dallas looks in shape to play the Super Bowl right now." How prophetic his words were to become. By summer's end, just solidly muscled, flat-bellied athletes made up the roster of the Dallas Cowboys. In September, 45 players, 9 of them rookies, embarked on a devastating journey that would lead to New Orleans. When you search for the home of champions, the road leads to Texas Stadium. For more than a decade, the Cowboys have been the winningest team in pro football. In 1976, many said only the lack of breakaway speed cost them a world's championship. So now, why were there smiles? Even Tom Landry tried to muffle his delight, for he possessed the worst-kept secret in football.
Roger hands it off to Dorsett, into the secondary, to the 30, 35, to the 40, cuts right, watch out! To the 50, the 40, he's to the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, Tony Dorsett, touchdown!
The addition of rookie Tony Dorsett not only gave Dallas 2 Heisman Trophy winners in its backfield, but added a new dimension to an attack that always has been diverse and unpredictable. Under the don't give up the ship leadership of Roger Staubach, the Cowboys gained nearly 6,000 yards and scored 345 points. Dallas ranked first in the NFL in total offense and was miles ahead in imagination as they pinwheeled through their schedule, leaving opponents dumbfounded and defeated. Despite the retirement of Blaine Nye and a knee injury to All-Pro Rayfield Wright, the offensive line became a strength. First-year starters Pat Donovan and Tom Rafferty combined with John Fitzgerald to form an Irish core, while Herbert Scott, Burton Lawless, Jim Cooper, Andy Frederick, and mainstay Ralph Neely rounded out the unit. Low-slung powerback Robert Newhouse looked like a beer barrel, but ran like a beer truck and gained over 700 yards. Versatile Preston Pearson, number 26, proved invaluable as a starter and indispensable as a situation specialist, for he ran the finesse plays to perfection. Doug Dennison, Scott Laidlaw, and Larry Brinson added depth to a horn of plenty, which spilled to overflowing with the 1,000 yards of Tony Dorsett, the NFL's Rookie of the Year. There was an abundance of skilled young receivers. Tight end Billy Joe Dupree ran the heavy-duty patterns at the goal line, while the perimeters of the field and the deeper probes spiraled to rookie Tony Hill, Golden Richards, and Butch Johnson. Cornerbacks covering Drew Pearson smelled smoke and found fire. Despite double coverage inside and out all season, number 88 gained more yards than any receiver in the NFL. About defensive backs, Drew said, I try to know them better than they know themselves. If they play me close, it might rain touchdowns. Dallas led the NFL in both offense and defense. Hard evidence that supported Landry's contention that this team was potentially his most devastating. From the opening whistle, the Cowboys disposed of 8 straight opponents and then cruised to a 12-2 record and the championship of the NFC East. Important psychologically was the 2-game sweep of the arch-rival Washington Redskins, something they had not achieved since 1970. They entered locker rooms only twice a beaten team, and the reasons for the flood of victories are many. The Cowboys are always the most prepared team in football. By Sunday, Landry and his staff left nothing to chance. From starters to special teams, plays are honed to the split second.
Here comes the rush. He fumbles the ball. Giants pick it up and head right. Now there's another fumble. Jay Seldy has it. Goes in toward the end zone. Touchdown, Cowboys!
Number 87, Jay Seldy, captained the special teams. Punter and reserve quarterback Danny White. All-pro place kicker Efren Herrera. And hitters like Mike Hegman, Guy Brown, David Stalls, Bruce Huther were among those responsible for the Cowboys' success. Middle linebacker Bob Brunick replaced retired Leroy Jordan, and that gap in experience was filled by Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris. Unlike most deep defenders, these two All-Pros did not tiptoe into tackles, but acted as 2 additional linebackers in doomsday swarming defense. The philosophy of the unit was coordination. Number 25, Aaron Kyle, covering receivers deep, while old pro D.D. Lewis buttons up the hook zone. They led the league against the run and were ball-hawking opportunists. Throw long and you found Benny Barnes, Randy Hughes, or Harris. Throw short and Thomas Hollywood Henderson turned the play 79 yards in the opposite direction. Starters like Henderson and reserves like Mark Washington and Mel Renfro were the reason the Cowboys allowed the lowest pass completion percentage in the NFL. Up front, 2 tall, 2 mean, and a manster lived right alongside Bill Gregory, Larry Cole, and Jethro Pugh. Just turn them loose and kiss the quarterback goodbye. Twisting, looping, stunting, and blitzing, the Cowboys racked up 53 sacks and turned passing situations into one big nightmare for offensive linemen. Running backs are the mayflies of pro football, so beautiful to watch, yet often so fragile. A grim reality not lost on Cowboys President Tex Schramm and Vice President Gil Brandt, who feared a training camp knee injury might blight the talents of number 1 draft choice, Tony Dorsett. Some said he was too small, for he stood almost a head shorter than most players. However, the only thing that may have intimidated Dorsett, like all rookies, was the Cowboys' complex system. It took him a full half season before he figured most of it out. Only then did this mayfly take wing. An admiring scout said, "When Dorsett sees the crease, he hits it like a bat out of hell." Tony's skills were multiple and opened up the field for other Cowboy players. Starting only the last 5 regular season games, number 33 was the 8th rookie in NFL history to run for 1,000 yards. An amazing fact considering Brown, Sayers, Simpson, and Payton did not. Dorsett scored 12 touchdowns, was the first rookie in 20 years to gain over 200 yards in a game, and broke the longest run in the NFL this season.
The handoff goes to Dorsett, dances into the secondary and heads left. The 30, comes right. To the 50, to the 40. He's going to score an 84-yard touchdown. Tony Dorsett, 84 yards on the touchdown.
Dorsett's accomplishments were so extraordinary, he was named the Rookie of the Year in the National Football League. The Cowboys' most dominating player was Harvey Martin, who was voted the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, an honor achieved over the fallen bodies of offensive linemen and quarterbacks. Quarterbacks were Martinized 23 times, a Cowboy record, and his individual sack total numbered more than 4 NFL teams. Number 79 had various techniques to defeat blocking patterns. The simplest of all was making a beeline to the ball. "If I can't block him, I'll do anything to stop him," was the lineman's motto. Since nobody could contain Harvey one-on-one, teams decided to double-team him, a tactic destroyed by the manster.
We call Randy White manster around here, and that's, you know what a manster is. He's half man, half monster. And he's the strongest man on the team, and he's a super competitor. I mean, the guy has only one speed, and it's top speed. He gives so much activity in that line. He's so quick, and he's so fast, and he's so strong that he's taking a lot of pressure off of me. Because I was really starting to get a lot of pressure on me with double teams and a lot of cut blocks and things like this. But you can't worry about Harvey Martin now when you got Randy White coming up next door to him.
Working side by side, Martin and White used a variety of stunts to open up a lane to the quarterback. Here, Randy, by tying up 3 Eagle blockers, allows Harvey an uncontested shot at Ron Jaworski. In unison, they were awesome, as Martin made All-Pro and White the Pro Bowl. Randy turned a capacity for hard work and quickness to the ball into a style reminiscent of Bob Lilly, the all-time Cowboy great. Blending individual excellence within the framework of a collective team effort, Dallas made the playoffs for an unprecedented 11th time in 12 years. In 1976, the Cowboys endured a bitter first-round loss to the Rams. Now, 12 months later, they would see if they were truly number 1.
No, this team is an interesting team because I can't read them. They look like out in practice they're relaxed when they ought to be serious, and I think they're going to have a bad game, and then all of a sudden they come up with a great game.
Staubach has him up to the line of scrimmage. Got Drew Pearson about 10 yards wide to the left again. Roger back to throw, pumps it once, sends it long for Dupree. It is caught for a touchdown. Billy Joe reached high in the air and pulled out a 28-yard.
To open the playoffs, the Cowboys scored early and often against the Chicago Bears, but won easily on the concussive force of the Doomsday defense.
Cover!
Doomsday limited Walter Payton to 60 yards rushing, caused 7 turnovers, an individual record 3 interceptions by safety Charlie Waters, and gave the offense a day at the races.
I formation with Dorsett the deep back now. Draw play, Dorsett to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, cuts right.
He is at the 5. He scores. Touchdown.
What can you say? It's just complete, total, utter domination.
The Cowboys' crushing 37-7 victory earned them a shot at the NFC Championship.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Texas Stadium in Irving for today's National Football Conference Championship encounter between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm Vern Lundquist, along with Frank Lieber and Brad Sham, and the Cowboys favored to win this game and go on and meet either Oakland or Denver in the Super Bowl championship 2 weeks from today.
Golden Richard's touchdown on the Cowboys' second play from scrimmage gave them a lead they never lost. They were confident of victory, a feeling fattened by the Doomsday defense.
Come on, let's go! Put it on there! Come on! Come on, 2 down! Get it on there! Have it on it now! Come on, come on! Let's go, Harvey! Come on, D, baby! Come on, D! Big down! Go get it on! Get it! Go! Hit him, Dugal! Hit him!
Awaiting the snap, takes it, inside handoff, Dorsett, right side, 10, 5, touchdown! New Orleans, here we come.
The Cowboys won 23-6, and at this moment in time, they appeared to be a team of destiny, not to mention opportunity or insanity. In New Orleans for Super Bowl 12, the Cowboys faced not only Denver, but Bronco Mania. However, emotion rarely, if ever, spells execution, the trademark of the Dallas defense. When the clock struck 12, it was doomsday in the dome, the sacking of Cinderella. Relentless pressure caused 8 Bronco turnovers and limited their passing attack to an incredible 35 yards. The Cowboys' climax offense put the game away with 2 spectacular plays. The first was called right 15, Y post 8.
Roger goes deep across the middle, way downfield, and Butch Johnson caught! Touchdown! A sensational diving catch by Butch Johnson, the Cowboys, second-year wide
Butch
receiver.
Johnson's 45-yard touchdown gave the Cowboys a 20-3 lead. At practice all season, they worked on a surprise play. And with 7 minutes remaining in Super Bowl 12, Tom Landry decided it was the proper moment for fire toss 38, halfback lead, fullback pass. Sometimes the best teams do not always win. This was not the case in 1977, as the Dallas Cowboys, the top offensive and defensive team in the NFL, a team rich in talent and deep to the 45th man, capped a truly marvelous season, a world championship season, with their second Super Bowl victory, 27-10.
And the Cowboy coach, Tom Landry, getting a ride off on the shoulders of his team as time has expired and the Dallas Cowboys are the champions of the National Football League.
The Dallas Cowboys entered the season as world champions and sought to become the first team to reach the Super Bowl 5 times. They are the Notre Dame of professional football, a national team whose popularity extends from coast to coast. No matter where the Cowboys travel, there are always friends to greet them. Their players are heroes to the young, and their success and style has gained them a following across the United States. Cowboy goals are lofty: win the National Football Conference title and then the Super Bowl. This is usually attainable, for as their fans well know, the sum total of their stars make up a galaxy. Their record is envied, and their innovations copied down to the last glamorous detail. They appear on television so often that their faces are as familiar to the public as presidents and movie stars. They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
But I think when you come off the Super Bowl, in most cases you're overrated the next year from what you really are. Other teams come after you much stronger than they've ever come, because if you win the Super Bowl in 1977, then you are the measuring stick for 1978.
David Staubach has up his sleeve on 3rd and 3. He's going to throw it back to the goal line. Pass is tipped. Caught by Dorsett anyway at the 15. Dorsett at the 20. Breaks a tackle at the 30. Down the near sideline to the 40. Cuts back to the middle of the field. He may go all the way.
Before the season, many said that the Cowboys had too much of everything. And in their opener, they appear to have all this and more as they shut out the Colts 38-0. This impressive display prompted many people, maybe even the Cowboys themselves, to believe they could sleepwalk to another title. Just as they sat back comfortably, the season and the football took some strange bounces. Suddenly, every game turned into a topsy-turvy scramble. The Cowboys' stopwatch perfect timing appeared a beat slow, and they were slapped in the face by their own mistakes. At best, the Cowboys looked failingly mortal. At their worst, frightfully ordinary. Each week they appeared stretched tight enough to crack, but no team in the NFL comes at an opponent with so many fine athletes. So the Cowboys survived. Some weeks, the Cowboys survived with a display of sound, fundamental football. In others, survival was achieved by other means.
Here's a quick pitch out to Tony, the reverse, and then hands it back to Staubach.
How about Flea Flicker City?
Staubach going deep for Tony Hill, who's all alone. Caught, touchdown!
Even in victory, there was no time to relax. Each game, they reaffirmed their dedication and desire. But so too did the Redskins who beat them. And so too did the Vikings, who humiliated them on national television. A bewildered team lost to Minnesota. And when they lost the next week to the Miami Dolphins, the inevitable was asked. What's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys?
And when you're fighting for the Super Bowl, everything seems to be on the upbeat. Everybody wants to win. They're paying a great price. Once you win the thing, then you want to win it again. But subconsciously, you're just not ready to play at the same level you played before. And so sometime along the season, you get in a position, like we are right now, where you got to make up your mind whether you're going to come back and win it or not, or whether you're going to be watching the other teams play on Christmas Day.
The Cowboys came to Green Bay with a 6-4 record and vividly demonstrated a championship team running on all cylinders. Before, they had labored and lost. Now, they were polished, confident, and unbeatable.
Rodgers back to throw. Looks deep across the middle, has Dupree there. Diving catch, touchdown! Oh, what a super catch by Billy Joe Dupree.
They crushed the Packers 42-14, blasted the Saints 27-7, and then settled the score with the arch-rival Redskins. On Thanksgiving Day, Doomsday II destroyed Washington's hopes in the NFC East. The Cowboys put a stranglehold on the Redskins, then pinned them to the mat. By rubbing out Washington 37-10, they dealt harshly with a pretender to their throne. But in the New England Patriots and quarterback Steve Grogan, they met a legitimate contender. A furious second-half rally pulled out a 14-10 victory. And the next week in Philadelphia, they crested to their 5th win in a row.
He'll throw now. fakes the screen, flips it out to Scott Laidlaw. There's a block miss, but Scott gets loose to the 40, 35, the 30.
What a play as it develops.
Still running to the 25, the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Laidlaw!
Each victory showcased new heroes as the rewards of death paid off handsomely in another NFC Eastern title.
A three-man rush. Danny has all day. Goes deep across the middle for Dupree. A leaping catch by Billy Joe. He fumbles the ball. Dorsett picks it up and is on the run.
The Cowboys ran away from the Jets 30-7 as their sixth straight victory propelled them into the playoffs for an unprecedented 12 times in 13 years.
I've seen very few teams win divisions or get in the Super Bowl that don't start fast. So we start fast, and usually we'll reach a point in the middle where we're kind of sagging or we're going down the valleys and we don't play quite as well. But we always have to finish strong, and so our philosophy has always been to start fast and finish strong. And so our team finally discovered the fact that if we don't get going, we would be out of it. And then they started to play like they did last year, even better.
The Doomsday defense traditionally has been the catalyst in the championship chases. There are veteran down linemen like Jethro Pugh and Larry Cole, and youngsters like David Stalls and Larry Bethea. They key the charge of linebackers D.D. Lewis, Bob Brunick, and Mike Hegman. Thomas Henderson jammed tight ends, and Cliff Harris stuffed runners. Doomsday 2 was the roughest to run on in the NFL, and one of the toughest to score against. It was certainly not easier to pass against them, for they led the league in sacks with 58. Too Tall Jones, Harvey Martin, and Randy White collapsed pockets and caved-in quarterbacks. In the secondary, Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters were all pros, while Benny Barnes, Randy Hughes, Mark Washington, and number 25, Aaron Kyle, turned the ball in the proper direction. For those who say the Cowboys are not a physically punishing team, let us present a witness for the defense. His name is Randy White. His nickname, Manster. If offensive guards could peer into his eyes and read his mind, they would all quit the game. But no one man can keep number 54 from his appointed round. White is a stunning combination of brute strength and speed. His power finalizes a play, while his quickness starts it all in motion. White's dogged determination, his refusal to quit on a play, separates him from the pack. His range extends from goal line to goal line, sideline to sideline. Pure and simply, Randy White is the best tackle in pro football and a leader by example of the defense. There is no question about who leads the offense. It is Roger Staubach, one of the game's fiercest competitors and the NFL's top-rated quarterback in 1978. Roger's ranking can be traced to the blockers that protected him. Pat Donovan, Herbert Scott, Burton Lawrence, Tom Rafferty, John Fitzgerald, Andy Frederick, Jim Cooper, and Rayfield Wright promised a clear view of 6 points. With receivers like Jay Saldi, the Cowboys led the NFL in scoring and converted an astonishing 50% of their third down chances. This was a credit to the Pearsons, Preston, number 26, and Drew, number 88. Clutch receivers blended with explosive runners. Between mainstay Robert Newhouse, number 44, and backup Scott Laidlaw, number 35, 900 yards were chewed up and 11 touchdowns scored. When games were broken open, they were blown apart even further by swift Larry Brinson, number 36. In 1978, Tony Dorsett was a marked man, but he improved dramatically on his Rookie of the Year season. His pass routes were more precise, and once he touched the ball, the spotlight was his. Dorsett's ability to accelerate from first gear to overdrive without shifting gears made him a unique runner and helped him gain over 1,300 yards, a Dallas Cowboy record. While Dorsett's season was expected, wide receiver Tony Hill's was not. In only his second season, Hill blended perfect technique with pure athletic ability to invite an intriguing future.
I think probably his potential is unlimited. Now, whether a player achieves his potential is pretty much up to him. His assets, he has a great ability to adjust to football. I don't think I've ever had a receiver that can adjust to a ball and flight any better than he can.
The emergence of Hill gave the Cowboys a stacked deck in the NFC. Some playoff teams are known for their offense, some for their speed and hustle, others still for their defense. A few, like the Dallas Cowboys, for all of those reasons. The Atlanta Falcons came to the playoffs at Texas Stadium and were expected to be routinely blown off the field by the Cowboys. Atlanta was a wild card team and wildly underrated. So they ran on emotion like a runaway train until they collided with the Cowboys' Super Bowl Express. A vicious hit left Roger Staubach unconscious and left the Cowboys trailing at halftime 20-13. Without trusty number 12, Cowboy hopes seemed imperiled. But into the breach stepped talented Danny White, and under his firm hand, America's team chomped down hard on the bit.
Just a good, solid punch away from 6 points.
First down, goal to go from the 2-yard line. Danny rolling out to his right, looking for a receiver. He's going to have to run it. Finally gets it away. Touchdown. Jackie Smith. Oh, that's got to be a thrill for him.
This 27-20 victory belonged to a 38-year-old tight end and especially to the Cowboys' cool young quarterback. The second step to Super Bowl 13 took them to Los Angeles.
Go, Rams, go! Go, Rams, go!
In the Coliseum, the Rams' battle cries were raucous. The Cowboys' sight more meaningful.
Get mean to him, get mean, baby. Talk to him. Let's go. You the man, let's go, baby.
Everyone predicted defense would determine the outcome, and it was Doomsday 2 that did. Cowboys forced 6 turnovers, 2 by clutch Charlie Waters, and the offense converted them swiftly into touchdowns. The game turned into a war of words, and as usual, Hollywood Henderson had the last one.
18 minutes, 28 seconds left, and I ain't through.
Here's an interception by Henderson. Henderson down to the 50. Thomas to the 40. He's going to score. Comes right to the 30. Looks for a block. He is to the 20, the 15. Touchdown, Dallas Cowboys. Thomas Henderson. And here comes the spike. Up and over.
No one is immune from Super Bowl fever. It infects young and old alike.
16 years, you're going to Super Bowl. You're going to Super Bowl. Jackie, you're going to Super Bowl.
3 years ago in the Orange Bowl, the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers contested the most exciting Super Bowl ever. Now on this same field in Super Bowl 13, they met head-to-head again and played even better. The Cowboys tried to steal the game away from Pittsburgh, but at the half, they trailed 21-14. Dallas dominated the third quarter until a brutal sequence of plays ruptured their dreams.
Roger back to throw, has a man open in the end zone, caught, touchdown, dropped in the end zone, Jackie Smith all by himself. Oh, bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man in America. He was so open.
The Cowboys salvaged a field goal, but minutes later, disaster struck on the heels of disaster. A ruinous interference penalty was not called on receiver Lynn Swann, but on cornerback Benny Barnes, number 31. The floodgates were open, and out poured 2 quick Steeler touchdowns. With only 7 minutes remaining, America's team made Super Bowl 13 a fight to the finish.
Roger drops back, fires it out of the flat for Billy Joe Dupree to the 5 and in for the touchdown.
2 minutes, 27 seconds remained. The Cowboys were running on empty, but their hearts were still pumping.
And now here comes the onside kick. It comes to the left side, and the Steelers drop it, and the Cowboys recover. Dallas has the football at the 49-yard line. Dennis Thurman picked it up, and the Cowboys may still be alive.
It was a special time for kicker Raphael Septien and special team members Dennis Thurman, Bruce Huther, and Guy Brown. Unfortunately, time was also slipping away.
Has the snap, drops back 2 steps, bumps once, goes deep in the end zone, caught, touchdown. Butch Johnson makes the touchdown catch, and the Cowboys have narrowed the margin to 35-30 with 22 seconds to play in Super Bowl 13. And wouldn't it be something if they could get the onside kick?
In the greatest Super Bowl ever played, it took an alliance of a truly great Pittsburgh Steelers team and the clock to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. When the 2 best teams in pro football play 60 minutes of inspired and imaginative football, there are no real losers. The Dallas Cowboys America's team. They left 1978 like they entered it, a champion.
Slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1.
The defending NFC champion Dallas Cowboys entered the new season weakened by the retirement of Jethro Pugh and Too Tall Jones and crippled by an injury to All-Pro Charlie Waters. The team was clearly wounded, and in stadiums around the NFC East, enemy camps sensed blood on the waters and staked their claim as number one.
One. We're number one. We're number one.
In the 1970s, the Cowboys ruled the Eastern Division, but in 1979, there were doubts in their minds and in the minds of others about who had a stranglehold on the East. It was a season of rocky takeoffs, bumpy flights, and crash landings. The Cowboys walked a tightrope all season. 16 weeks of narrow escapes and breathtaking come-from-behind victories as they scrambled, scratched, and crawled their way to the top. When you teeter so precariously for so long on the high wire, you are bound to slip and fall. When the Cowboys fell on a dark December night in a playoff game against the Los Angeles Rams, there was no net to catch them.
Here's Ferragamo dropping back to throw. Protection is good. Goes deep across the middle. It's caught at the 25, 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Billy Waddy, touchdown Los Angeles.
It proved bitter irony that the Cowboys lost in the fashion in which they so often had won, in the final frantic minutes of the game. There would be no conference championship or Super Bowl this season. The profile is unmistakable. The face belongs carved on Mount Rushmore. Tom Landry began his 20th season in St. Louis without injured Tony Dorsett, who sat while rookie Ron Springs, number 20, starred. The Cowboys won their 15th straight opener by a single point. Then in San Francisco, Roger Staubach generaled a furious second-half rally to defeat the 49ers. For 2 weeks, the Cowboys had flirted with disaster. And in week 3, they played a perilous game of brinksmanship against the Chicago Bears.
The Cowboys down by 3, and they have 2 timeouts left. A roar from the crowd now. Tony Hill wide to the left, Drew Pearson wide right, Dorsett in motion right side, Staubach play fake, hit screen to Hill, left side to the 20, 15, 10. Oh, what moves, what quickness by Tony Hill, the thrill.
Once again, they walked the tightrope and survived. Few teams survive a healthy Tony Dorsett, whose 3 touchdowns helped bury the Vikings 36-20. On form, the 1979 Cowboys were notorious slow starters with a flashy finishing kick. But they blew out the Rams early with a season's worth of precision plays, and Roger Staubach spirals in the night. The 30-6 rout of the Rams was followed by a second victory over the Cardinals, as the winningest team of the decade finished the first half of its schedule with the best record in pro football. The Cowboys' 7-1 record was not as easily accomplished as knit one, pearl two. But who could blame them for looking as satisfied as the cat that ate the canary? There was an abundance of talent in the huddle and quality depth on the sideline. The offensive line of Tom Rafferty, Andy Frederick, Pat Donovan, Burton Lawless, Jim Cooper, Herbert Scott, John Fitzgerald, and Raphael Wright broke down individual components of a defense and powered the team to the most points in the NFC. The Cowboys possessed three quality tight ends in Jay Saldi, rookie Doug Cosby, and number 89, Billy Joe Dupree, who scored 5 touchdowns. There was versatility at running back, as all-purpose back Ron Springs, number 20, sparkled in his rookie season. Mr. Versatile remained ageless Preston Pearson, whose acrobatic catches often kept the team from falling off the tightrope. Robert Newhouse did the important dirty work, like cleaning up long, sustained drives with short, gutty touchdown runs, or executing a climax play like the screen pass. Like champions, the Cowboys won in all the important little ways. Their special teams blended the teamwork of rookies Robert Shaw, Aaron Mitchell, and Steve Wilson with heads-up play by veterans like Aaron Kyle. Running under Danny White's precisely angled punts came Guy Brown, Mike Hegman, Dennis Thurman, Bruce Huther, and Benny Barnes, number 31. Another unit which did the little things well was the Doomsday defense, which employs the complicated flex. Residing here was a menacing mix of old pros and all pros. Tackle Randy White, safety Cliff Harris, end Harvey Martin, and middle linebacker Bob Bruni. The quiet leader was veteran swingman Larry Cole, a solid team player who did the unnoticed chores, like closing down runs and bottling up both blocker and running back. The fiery leader was linebacker D.D. Lewis, number 50, who, like Cole, was never afraid to stick his head into the thick of a sweep. For 3 seasons, all pros Harvey Martin and Randy White have parlayed little things into big sacks. Here, Randy loops around Harvey, who ties up 2 blockers and takes dead aim on the quarterback. Martin, number 79, boasted a peerless outside rush, which enabled him to lead the team in sacks for the 7th straight year. The acquisition of John Dutton and the crunch of David Stalls, Larry Bethea, and rookie Bruce Thornton made Doomsday a punishing force. The secondary of Kyle, Barnes, and Harris was bolstered by number 42, Randy Hughes, who did a superb job replacing the unreplaceable All-Pro safety Charlie Waters. Although not as dominant as in seasons past, Doomsday was decisive down the stretch as the Cowboys sought their 14th straight winning season and 13th playoff berth in 14 years. The confident Cowboys entered the home stretch comforted by their glittering 7-1 record. This confidence was shattered quickly by a bitter loss to the Steelers and successive defeats by the Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Redskins, and Houston Oilers. Shadows grew as long as cowboy faces as the team was dragged under the quicksand of a mid-season slump. They lost 4 of 5 games and might have fallen off the tightrope for good, except for one victory that reflected this entire topsy-turvy season, a game played on the rim of defeat against the Giants.
Wide split behind Staubach in the offensive backfield. Roger back to throw. He pumps once, goes deep for Drew Pearson. Pearson at the 1-yard line and has a touchdown. Pearson is in with a touchdown. Just at the point when you say, where is the Dallas offense? They show up.
Trailing by a point, 14-13, with 1 minute, 21 seconds remaining, and the ball on their 9-yard line, the Cowboys did what wounded or trapped animals do. They attacked. With 6 seconds left, the Cowboys stood a field goal away from victory.
Danny White will hold a 23-yard field goal for Rafael Septien with 6 seconds to go in the game, and the Cowboys down by 1. Danny White says, are you ready? Here's the snap, a good one. The kick is up, and it's good! Septien!
The 16-14 victory was not a wild stroke of fortune, but rather the orderly application of superior resources in desperate moments. This tradition began with some glorious names from the Cowboys' past and vividly carried into the present by a truly remarkable man. If the bitter will to win was rolled into one bundle and set on legs, it would look like Roger Staubach. This season, Roger won a 4th NFL passing championship, making him the all-time quarterback leader. But it was not the statistical Staubach, but Staubach the leader, the opportunist that kept his team in the battle when the cause seemed hopelessly lost. In his career, Roger has led 23 fourth-quarter rallies, including 16 in the last 2 minutes or overtime that resulted in Cowboy victories. Roger's capacity to come from behind was greatly enhanced by 2 premier wide receivers, veteran Drew Pearson, number 88, and third-year man Tony Hill. Both provided almost a mile of smiles and excitement to Cowboy fans who saw these 2 peas in a pod gain over 1,000 yards receiving. For 7 seasons, Drew Pearson has possessed the unique ability for making the storybook catch and running precise patterns either short or deep. His 8 touchdowns, 55 receptions, and 1,000 yards would have led most teams. Not so the Cowboys, for their home run hitter was the man they call the Thrill. Tony Hill caught 60 balls for over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. The Cowboys became the first team in NFL history to have 3 players gain over 1,000 yards in a season. Joining Pearson and Hill was Tony Dorsett. It was a strange season for Tony. He fractured a toe when a mirror fell on his foot, and later fell off a horse and hurt his leg. But he is a horse that a team can ride all the way to a championship, and the Cowboys did. At first glance, Dorsett appears frail, but he is weightlifter strong under his pads. His strength helps absorb punishment. His speed propels him away from it and carried Tony to his third straight 1,000-yard season. With only 3 games remaining, the Cowboys stood 8-5, a record that tied them with the Redskins for second place and set them 1 game behind the Eagles in the NFC East. Opponents tried to outpsych the Cowboys. The Giants collected their entire team at midfield and made them captains for a day. The strategy failed as Roger Staubach and Drew Pearson combined for 3 touchdowns. The 28-7 victory was tempered when an overzealous spike by Pearson cost the Cowboys his services for their next game. A showdown for first place with the sky-high Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles are on the move. Go, Eagles, go!
Behind the blind faith of their rabid fans, the Eagles contested something the Cowboys thrive and survive in. A must game. Luck, fate, and the bounce of the ball often determine such games. The Cowboys made their own luck, and as described by Brad Sham and Charlie Waters, fate saved the most important bounce for last.
Still need points, so that's the only thing that matters. We need to get 3 or 7. Let's don't give the ball over to them.
Preston Pearson is in the backfield. All by himself is the lone setback. Hill wide left, Butch Johnson wide right, long count. Staubach wants to throw. Throws over the middle, tip. Caught! Touchdown! On a deflected play, and it's caught by Butch Johnson.
Gotta believe. They believe. You live right, you get things like this happening to you.
Tom Landry, said last week that the Cowboys hadn't had much luck, and he was right, but hey, there's a break.
Everything is confidence in football, professional football, and you build confidence over a lot of years, a lot of experiences that give you confidence to do something like you do today. It doesn't come easy.
Nothing ever comes easy against the Washington Redskins as the Cowboys turn the last game of the year into the most exciting and dramatic of the 1979 season. Trailing 17-0 in the second quarter, their hopes for a championship appeared hopelessly lost. A blitzkrieg of 3 touchdowns severely shifted momentum away from the Redskins and securely in the Cowboys' favor. Momentum proved a fickle lake.
Delay play to Riggins, coming to the right side, and Riggins has a big hole, first down the sideline, 40, 30, he's gone to the 20, the 10, he's still on his feet, touchdown, a 66-yard run by Riggins, exploding away to the outside, and that may be more than the Cowboys can overcome.
The Cowboys trailed the Redskins 34-21 deep in the fourth quarter.
2:38 left in the game. Can it happen again? Can they come back again? Shotgun formation. Staubach looking into the face of a four-man rush. Throwing. Caught. Springs.
Go. Touchdown.
Touchdown. Ron Springs. 2:20 left in the game. Can they do it again?
You gotta believe, Brad.
Woo!
The defense believed as a key play by Larry Cole on 3rd and 2 turned the ball back to this team on a tightrope and primed the greatest comeback in Dallas Cowboy history.
1:01 left in the game. This is an all-timer. Cowboys at the Redskin 33. 2nd down 10. Trailing by 6 points. From the shotgun. Staubach has time. Throws. Caught.
You gotta love them. I mean, you gotta love the Cowboys. They're the most exciting team in the NFL. They can pull it out.
42 seconds left in the game. Redskins lead by 6. How do you live like this? Huh? How can you live like this, doing this every week?
This is what it's all about.
This is a killer. 2nd down and 8. From the 8-yard line. No shotgun this time. Staubach throwing in the end zone. Tony Hill! Touchdown! Tony Hill! Oh, the stadium goes wild. Charlie Waters goes wild. The Cowboys have won the East. The Cowboys have come from behind twice. Unbelievably. This place has gone berserk. I ain't never seen nothing like this.
Just another day at the office, Brad.
Yeah, just,